People should really be going in with the expectation that like nothing they knew about how the game was balanced before is the same. Just forget everything you know. This just means that like when you're asking, well, what skills have changed? Well, the answer is literally all of them.
Log in, Exiles, and as you may have heard, there was a GG Live, and in it, they revealed almost all the new things coming to the Path of Exile 2 0.20 patch, Dawn of the Hunt. In it, GGG gives us a new class, 5 new ascendancies, and a large focus on endgame content. There was also a Q&A live stream, and I want to get into some of my favorite moments of that discussion and some of their ideas for PoE2 design. Before that, Exiles, though, please slam a vol over into that subscribe button. That helps roll that number higher, helps me out, and lets you know when I upload a video. But let's get into it. We're going to go over this kind of quickly just because there's going to be so many other content creators making so many other videos going way deeper into this content and the builds and all the crazy things you're going to be able to do with it. But I just want to be able to briefly cover it right now, right here. So we've got the new class, the Huntress, they're coming in. Spear-wielding Asmiri warrior, born into society with strict traditions. She was expelled from her homeland after using the power of a skill gem to defend her village. As a dexterous spear user, she specializes in both melee and ranged combat, dashing in and out of battle. And then we've got 2 ascendancies coming in from that. We've got the Ritualist. The Ritualist embraces the darker side of the Asmiri traditions, with ritualistic sacrifice. And the Amazon. Trained as an elite guard to the Asmiri elders, the Amazon has mastered her fighting techniques to perfection. Awesome. Seems very fun to play. Very excited to get in there and mess with those. I'm probably rolling an Amazon first character for Dawn of the Hunt. We've got 20 new Huntress skills, the hit and run, so we see that dashing in and out of combat ability. We also see use of the buckler and the parry attack here with savage counterattacks, getting hit, doing the spears, and then dashing in. And then the one I'm most excited for here, Primal Fury, harnessing the ferocity of the wilds, tame beasts, whip up some storms, and throw elemental fury at your enemies. Just, monkey. Have monkey. Well, yeah. Well, monkey. This is going to be so much fun. We've got 3 new ascendancies, other than the Amazon coming as well. Starting with the warrior, the smith Kitava, take your smithing skills to new heights by embracing power from the insatiable one himself, Kitava. Smiths of Kitava are master blacksmiths and have the ability to forge their weapons, quite literally. And as we saw in the reveal video, that the smith of Kitava ascendancies is very much smithing their weapon and armor through their ascendancy nodes. It looks like it might be very cool, very broken. It also might be very slow, and if it is too slow to play, then it might just fall off the wayside, but I'm excited to see what happens and see what people do with it. We've also got the mercenary, the tactician. The tactician is a former soldier trained in the way of the Blackguard elite. Specializing in martial command, he's able to support his allies, but isn't afraid to get his hands dirty. I think the coolest ability out of that I saw that will probably, in my opinion, scale really, really well, or just be able to do crazy damage is the off-screen archers throwing in an arrow storm. I thought that looked really cool, but we might need to see what sort of utility things this guy has and what he can do with like totems and banners and such. Still, very cool, very exciting. And then the one that, in my opinion, this one's super cool. This one was kind of big for them to not leak it, not tease it, but the Lich. The Lich is a master of chaos and curses. Using a jewel to act as her phylactery, she has sacrificed a part of her soul for power. And I'm excited to get in there from what they showed. It just looks exciting. Again, go check out the reveal video or just any of the other great, fantastic content creators making just much more in-depth videos for what these classes are going to be able to do, other than just my quick overview on these. We got some new skills. We got Raise Spectre, so we can use a Skyrim Spirit Gem to Pokemon some mobs and have them fight for us. That's going to be awesome. And then we've got the Summon Roa, which is, that's just going to be so cool. Using ranged attacks from the Roa. The Roa uses your movement speed. I'm very excited. As playing the Amazon, absolutely going to be using that. It's going to be amazing. I'm here for it. I'm so here for it. We've also got 100 plus new support gems and 100 plus new unique items, mainly focusing on endgame or mid and endgame for the uniques, And with the support gems, I mean, that's just character builds, character creation. With these two combined, we're going to see so much in the way of character builds and different crazy combos. It's going to be excellent. I am so hyped for what we're going to be able to do and just what the community is going to be able to start putting together with these. We got new encounters, the Asmirian Wisps. These little wisps, basically, they'll chase you, or not chase you, they will run away from you as you chase them, and if they pass through mobs, they will level them up. They're going to be seeking out like a rare or a unique for the map. So if they pass through a normal, they'll upgrade it to a magic to a rare, and a rare to a unique or like map boss type. With extra, I think it's extra, maybe extra modifiers, mechanics, and rewards. Things that, yeah, their own mechanics and rewards. So fantastic. There's going to be distinct wisps, different types of, combat encounters, different types of chaining, randomness. It's going to be real cool with that. We also got new areas. We got 7 endgame maps. They only teased 3 of them, but the 3, at least 2 of them look freaking amazing. And then one of them is going to be a great farming resource. So we've got the Fractured Lake. This one has these like cool hexagon, patterns to the ground as they rise up as you walk around, so you don't see the landscape necessarily, but it comes up from underneath, looking really awesome. You'll also be their rare monsters are mirrored, so you're always fighting 2 of the same rare at the same time. And at the end, you'll find a broken mirror that contains either an amulet or ring that can be crafted to have additional prefixes or suffixes at the cost of the other. Now, what they showed was a plus, the most was a +2 or -2. So it still, that might be absolutely broken for some builds or just do some crazy cool things. Very excited. We've got the Ezomite Megaliths. This is basically going to be your boss rush map. You got 10 total waves of boss fights, which get incrementally more difficult. And lastly, for the maps that they actually teased, we have the Silent Cave. And this is that sort of teaser they gave us with the unique trapped in the essence here. But essentially how it'll work is there'll be a bunch of rares and other mobs surrounded in essence. And as you kill them, they'll power up the big unique guy trapped in the middle. And he'll get more modifiers, more powerful, and the essence will get stronger. If you kill him, you get all that greater essence and all that cool stuff. You can even juice the mobs or juice the encounters with orbs. I think you can chaos orb it to either get way more or lose your greater rolls. Probably lose your greater rolls most of the time. And then 5 more maps to play in Dawn of the Hunt. So we've got some cool things to go discover. We've got new encounter Rogue Exiles. On your travels, you will sometimes encounter Rogue Exiles. Others like you have been exiled and are openly hostile. They will challenge you, a fight to the death. And these guys will be wearing the same items players can wear, using the same skills players can use. If they kill you, they will absolutely disrespectfully create a portal and leave through that portal. But if you kill them, you can take their gear. I think it says here those items will drop on the ground, but I'm almost positive in the Q&A that they said it's a chance. I unfortunately didn't grab that clip, but yeah, I'm pretty sure they said it's a chance, but you can modify that through the Atlas and whatnot, and that'll be cool. Very excited to get more powerful gear, potentially more uniques dropping from these guys too. Very cool, very cool. We've also got unique strong boxes, the Ogham's Legacy. This one, each time you defeat the monstrosity, the strong box arrives again, adding an extra modifier to the monster. With each resurrection, it becomes more difficult, but also more rewarding. So, another boss rush type or multi-boss, reviving boss type. Very cool. And then, Ixtel's Torment. This strong box is infused with thaumaturgy from ancient Vol technology. Ixtel's Torment. I'm probably butchering that, but Ixtel's Torment has a powerful artifact inside and is guarded by chaos itself. Defeating the monsters will grant you a unique item with a specific corrupted outcome. So that'll be a very cool way of getting as it says, specifically corrupted uniques. Very cool for that. And we gotta explore and find 2 more uniques. Or 2 more unique strong boxes. So, let the exploration begin April 4th. Then the endgame mechanic, Cleansing the Corruption. Essentially, this is how you'll get your Atlas node points. You go in, you find in the center of the corruption, you'll find the corrupted nexus. You beat that, you cleanse it. That'll cleanse all the corrupted maps around it in its radius or area of affliction. There we go. And with them cleansed, you have to clear it on a different tier to get your Atlas points, but then with them cleansed, you can earn fractured orbs from enemies and bosses in the cleansed maps. Also, the cleansed maps, as I said, won't drop gear. They'll drop more currencies, waystones, stuff like that, though. So, cool way potentially of farming some currency. We've got improvements to the end game. So towers, they said they've reduced towers to like 1/3, but they've increased their power by like 4, and they can take up to 3 waystone or tablets now. So that's very cool. Much easier to stack things and get the sort of results or extra buffs you're looking for, even without so much overlap, and you don't have to do so much work to sort of achieve these sorts of buffs. So very cool for that. I'm excited. That's quality of life. And one of them allows you to teleport to any map within the tower's range. So, boom, super cool. That fixes a lot of the over the lake issues. So that was very annoying, especially if you're running towards the Citadel and suddenly there's a lake in your way and you have to go 32 maps around. Not fun. Not fun. This going to be much more fun. And then we've got the corrupted essences, like we were talking above. Use a Val Orb you can use a Val Orb to corrupt an essence encounter with a range of unpredictable outcomes. It can increase the number of essences, reroll all the essences of the same type, or even upgrade the essence to greater essences. Essences of Delirium, Horror, and Insanity receive their own crafting outcomes, and all the essences in the unique map can also be corrupted too, if you're willing to risk it. So, awesome new essences, awesome new mechanics. Very excited to just get in there, start killing things, start blasting, start getting powerful, become god tier, and then make another character and do it again. And of course we can do that on April 4th when Dawn of the Hunt goes live.
But I actually want to address that because, like, okay, so I'm watching. Well, okay, right now I'm watching Deep Space Nine, funnily enough, but you know, I'm watching Deep Space Nine as I'm playing, as I'm testing the game. Right? It's like you develop a muscle memory, and that muscle memory can include using multiple skills and doing like multiple things, and that's still to me more engaging than just holding down a button. You know?
So you're saying this, like, watching things on the secondary thing isn't about the game being easy; it's just a skill issue. You need to get
for sure, yeah.
I want to take a look at some of the Q&A section and why I find it to not only be interesting, but give me so much hope for the future and hype in seeing all the potential that Path of Exile 2 has. And just ultimately, I think the core of what I'm most excited about is we have some pretty clear ideas for how Jonathan and Mark want PoE 2 to go, while also getting a little insight as to what the last 4 months have been used for here with this clip.
But I mean, effectively, what the time between early access and this was like, okay, let's actually attempt at least to do a balance pass of this and like see if there's anything that's going to be a problem and then adjust numbers accordingly.
But now you've got to account all those support gems on all those monsters.
Yes, well, this is
As we can see, they've been spending the last 4 months really just dialing in for the update, getting those skills ready, going through that balance patch. As they say later in the interview, that pretty much every skill gem has been changed and that nothing is going to be how it was. So we've got a lot of relearning to do when it comes to that. But we also got a pretty clear understanding of how they want player power and progression to go and feel.
Like a good sort of benchmark for like just a guy walks in and like has kind of got something that's like not stupid, but also like not like doing something, you know, like not crazy. And we kind of imagine that they should have about 50k DPS doing something like that. But at the same time, anything up to 500k DPS is
10 times,
you know, is also okay. And well, that'll take you from taking a 3-minute fight down to like a 20-second fight. Like, you know, that's your range of like potentially acceptable kind of things going on. But if you're doing above that, then you're in like, we're probably going to nerf you territory at some point. So that's kind of like the thing. Now, the hope is though that yes, you're right. It'll stabilize to the point, and like it will take time, but we will get to the point where we no longer have things that are easy to become outrageous with. Right? Like the idea is like it shouldn't be that you can just slap a combination of supports together and then like you're just like destroying pinnacles in 14 seconds. You know, like it should be that
14's a long time.
Yeah, okay, sure. But
you mean 14? That sounds like terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not even on PoE.
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying is with no items, right? But anyway, so the point is that like the first time you fight a pinnacle, it should be a bit of a fight. But then of course you do get back to the ability after, you know, like when like kind of like continuing to expand, like continue to develop your character post pinnacle to the point of being able to annihilate them in seconds.
Yeah.
But it's just like that has to be earned. It can't just be that like just a combination of supports that you can get trivially will do that.
Or like a common unique, you know, and then that's it.
Yeah, exactly,
you know?
right?
It's as Jonathan says, a guy walks into a bar with 50k DPS and he whacks off a pinnacle in about 3 minutes. So we got a pretty clear range of what they're sort of looking for. And of course, as he was saying too, that in the other clip, they want you to still get to that overpowered, Super Saiyan God level of just nuking bosses. But 1 second is kind of crazy. But like 10 seconds, that's more of an acceptable range. So I think that's really cool, really exciting that we've got in my opinion, a much better range, a much better idea of what they're looking for in terms of how they want their gameplay and fights to be meaningful. But I think overall they just want that to be earned. They don't want it to be handed to you. They don't want you to just combo some skills together that you're just given and boom, you have instant pinnacle nuking power. They really want you to earn that power. And I enjoy that because I want to grind that out and I want to have earned that power myself. Something I had seen other players gripe about though, and something that I wasn't quite seeing myself, but like I could understand where they're coming from. I could, is this talk of treating the game like a full release. And this, GGG is treating it like a full release. Players treating it like a full release. The press is someone's treating it like a full release. Either players, devs, whoever, but I think overall through this Q&A, Jonathan and Mark constantly reiterated that this was an early access game and that it's in early access and that they're testing things. And I think we got a few moments like this that really solidify that.
People assume that we have a full plan of literally everything, but it's like in reality, it's very much responsive to what's happening and the actual plan relates to the things that are differently happening, right? You're talking acts, you're talking classes, you're talking all that stuff is differently, that's happening. It takes a long time to produce. It sort of happens in the background. You've got outsources, armies of people kind of working on that stuff. And then all the kind of more incidentally stuff is very much let's do something cool. Let's just make this. What if we do this? And we don't have I don't have a plan for the next, 12 strong boxes. It's just, just come up with an idea and that's cool. Just a fun little project for a designer to work on.
And in that clip, we find out that there's really only a plan for those core aspect things, the classes, the ascendancies, the acts. Most other things they're going to be reactionary to how they fit into the game, how they combine with other mechanics or encounters or weapons or skills, or just how the player base is liking or not liking the implementation. So there really isn't this. What it's not is a complete game that we're testing aspects for before they release it. What it really does seem is that this is very much a test bed of testing new, we would call it system of systems, but they're really testing these new I want to call them new ways of, I guess the end result is that it almost looks like nothing has changed, but the work to get there was very different. And I think that's going to result in a much more robust system of systems that they can then further expand and upgrade. But also when it comes to building those systems, I very much appreciate when they can kind of take a step back maybe and we get these sorts of moments here.
Honestly, our next point with that is honestly just to get in a room and just be like, all right, let's pretend it didn't exist and we were coming up with the game from scratch and we're like, okay, we have strength. What would we want the ideal defense to be? And honestly, it might even extend further than that. And really just see, firstly, to make sure we end up, if we don't end up at the same point, make sure we end up as better. Maybe we do end up at the same point and we do just go, okay, here are some other changes that we need to make around physical damage in particular or something like that. But it's one of those things where at this point we just need to review it from literally back to basics and see where we end up. Because it might be something completely different, but it might also end up being relatively the same, and maybe it was the better answer. But either way, it's worth the discussion and worth the time because, it's there's something not quite right going on for sure.
You're still fundamentally questioning some of these things and willing to go back to the drawing board on them, which is quite interesting.
Well, 100%.
I appreciate that Mark's ability to say, let's pretend it doesn't exist. And let's redo that whole system because, how we built it, we thought we had it, we thought we nailed it, we thought we had something that worked, and it just turns out it's not. So let's pretend to scrap it all together, rebuild an entirely new system, and see if we can yield better results or if we yield the same. Because if we get back to the same spot, then we know that this is probably the best route. This is more than likely the best way forward. We just need to figure out how to refine this and find the sort of missing pieces to our own puzzle to make this, in this case, armor, work the way we envision and intend for it to work. And I think having these sorts of ideas of being able to rebuild a system or review a system or how it functions altogether is a very good thing. I think it can help realign a system and with new experimental things that are coming out. So as leagues change, adapt, and improve or just add new mechanics, being able to look back at a system and go, you know what, maybe we need to adjust that and see how that's going to, see how that we can make that better going forward. I think that's really good, and I think that'll help make PoE 2 a much more excellent game going forward. But it also, I think, gives us some of these crazy cool experimental ideas, kind of like the roll amount.
We want to just make sure that we've got like, sort of fun things like that. And like it's just a cool fantasy. Like there's stuff like that I just want to get in. And it's like, look, if it doesn't work later, if we have to nerf it, I mean, sure, I suppose. But, I want something like that to exist. We believe that it is balanced as much as we can.
You sound very convinced.
Yes, it's balanced.
I mean, look at how happy and excited our man Jonathan is. Look at that smile. Look at that look on his face. He wants this row amount so bad. I think that's a great idea. Not only as an idea in and of itself, but also to have one of the main people making the game, one of your lead devs, lead dev, so excited to add new and fun features, and then to just put in the work to make that happen. I think that's very, very cool, very exciting to have, and that speaks to the sort of excitement and fun that both Jonathan and Mark are, and the entire team of ZiggyD are really looking to put into PoE 2. That they want the game to very much be fun, and that they're trying all sorts of just different considerations, different ideas, and seeing really how they can make them work to make the game just as fun as possible. And I think that's awesome. And combined with the 10 years of knowledge that they have gained from PoE 1, this is what makes me the most excited and hyped for this game. But I also think it helps answer some of that fundamental question of why PoE 1 and PoE 2 had to be separate games, where it couldn't just be PoE 1.5, and why ZiggyD aren't just grabbing systems from PoE 1, like this crafting mechanic or this league mechanic, why they aren't just grabbing those systems and wholesale porting them into PoE 2. Because I believe that they are redesigning the systems to be systems of systems that they can expand and be modified far easier, or just enhanced far easier than what they've currently done. I'm sure after 10 years, you're able to take all these little moments of, I wish we had built this into the code in the beginning, or, I wish we had done it like this the first time, or, we should have done this, and then we would have been able to also do these things. And instead, you end up with still being able to do it, because I'm sure these are brilliant game designers and developers and coders and all that, but you end up with, at a certain point, Band-Aid solutions on top of Band-Aid solutions, and it does, at a certain point, you've got too many Band-Aids stacked up. You're going to need a fresh surface. You're going to need to create a whole new system. And I think they're really working on these systems of systems. That is to say, a system that supports multiple systems, multiple ways of exhibiting or executing a function that at the end result looks like nothing has changed. And the game is very similar to PoE 1, but on its back end, or on its under the hood side, it's doing things on different function levels, on different system levels, and handling them in what I'm hoping, coping is much better ways, much better ways that are, again, easily expandable and can lead to much more exciting encounters.
This rune system is our crafting bench, but
Yes.
players don't keep asking for a bench anyway.
Right.
So obviously there's like a branding issue or a functionality
100%.
gap
So
here.
it is funny, because I was actually saying the other day that, like, if we had literally had that system be identical, except that the way it was themed was that there's a crafting bench you go to and craft extra mods on the items, like, which literally be functionally the same, I think, and required materials that are effectively the runes that you get. Like then I feel like people would be thinking that we've got a crafting bench. But yeah, ultimately that is that the rune system, the socketables are what replaced the crafting bench in the PoE 1 style crafting bench.
And I guess it must have also been like with that initial kind of output of them was just not as many options as
100% as well. So that is the issue,
to.
and that's because they were relatively late in development. So now we're just sort of expanding that, and we'll continue to add more socketables probably with every release, right? Like,
I'm also in the camp of liking runes and socketables, mainly because from the beginning, I saw the potential of them just being able to pop a thing in there, and then they're going to expand that all the things, and that's exactly what they said they're going to do. It's just for the 1.0 early access launch, it was just super undeveloped. It was late in the production cycle, and really like only a small handful of them really rose to the top because they were the most useful. They were the most dominant for what they did. And I think adding more is just going to be fantastic. With that, Exiles, let me know what you think in the comments below of the reveal video, the Q&A session, PoE2, this video, 1 + 1 is 2, anything like that. And if you've made it this far, please remember, slam a Val Orb into that subscribe button to help me out to roll that number higher, and so that you can know. Actually, I think you have to hit the bell so you can know when a new video goes live. But also check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/neondragon25. I've got a 4-day streamathon. 4-day streamathon starts April 4th. Link down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and remember to keep being awesome, Exiles, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Bye!